Hello everyone. Today we're going to demonstrate how to properly take care and polish a pair of shoes. Now, the shoes that I have here are a pair of Allen Edmonds. Allen Edmonds is probably the best shoe brand out there that you could get for a reasonable price. Their stuff, at the full retail price is still going to be around $400. These I think are around $400, but you could get their factory seconds online. You get stuff for under $200 sometimes. This is a pair of black Fifth Aves. Really nice pair of shoes. Now, the first thing to know when taking care of a pair of shoes is to put shoe trees in. These are Allen Edmonds special shoe trees, but these you could buy online on Amazon, on eBay. They're just cedar trees. Compare this to your typical plastic shoe tree. These are much, much nicer because they have moisture in them and they preserve the shoe, as opposed to the plastic, which is just there to keep the form of the shoe. The cedar shoe trees, which again, you buy the pair for $20, add moisture to the shoe and help preserve the shoe a lot more. So very, very important when you're not wearing your shoe, you want to put the shoe tree in. Another thing is, just to show you, the entire sole of the shoe was originally leather. Most nice shoes that you get these days are going to be made out of leather soles. Sometimes you can find a nice pair of shoe with rubber soles. Plenty of them exist, but your standard classic dress shoe is going to have a leather sole. The thing with leather soles is that they get holes in them pretty quickly, especially if you're hard on your feet. If you're hard on your shoes like I am, these could get holes in them pretty fast, and you may need to resole them once every 2 to 3 months. That's pretty often, depending on how often you wear your shoe. So what I do is I put a piece of plastic over here right after I buy them, and I hadn't had to resole these in a long time because the plastic over the leather is a really good protection. Now, also, when you resole your shoes, there are two options. You could resole the entire shoe, the heel, and the whole sole, or you could just do half a sole, in which case they cut half of the sole. You could do half a sole, but if you have a really nice pair of shoes like these, you want to do the whole sole. It's not great for the shoe to do half a sole. Now, when you polish your shoe, the first step in polishing is that you want a brush. This is made out of horsehair. This is a must-have when it comes to polishing. They're really cheap. It costs about $5. I buy them online. They're part of the any shoe shining kit. I'll put a link below if you're interested. And before you start using any polish or any conditioner, you want to rub over the shoe with a brush. Now, you don't need to do this too fast. You don't need to do anything crazy here. The idea here is to get rid of all the dust on the shoe, is to get rid of any stains there might be on the shoe, and to prepare it for polishing. The same way, you could say before if you want to compare this to cleaning your body, before you start putting soap all over your body and your hair when you take a shower, you just go into the water, rinse yourself off, and then you prepare yourself for putting soap on your body and to put all the cleaning stuff on it. But you want to get all the dust off first, okay? You just want to rinse off your shoe. Another thing that the brush does is that it softens the leather, conditions the leather. So the leather itself, again, beautiful leather like this will be very receptive to the polish, but when you move the brush over it, it becomes softer and it becomes much more easier for the polish to penetrate into the leather. And so you don't need to do anything too massive over here. Just quickly run over the shoe with a brush. Now, you could go right to the polish, but it's important sometimes to use conditioner. This is Allen Edmonds custom conditioner, but again, you could buy this stuff online. Comes with most shoe polishing kits. And you should do this once every, 3 to 4 polishes. And the idea is that it takes not only pieces of dust or stains on the shoe away, it actually also removes the previous layer of polish. Because when you put on a new layer of polish, you don't want it to add up. You want to take away the old layer and then put on a new layer. So to put the conditioner on and the polish, you want to use an old undershirt. You could use, microfiber fabrics. Those also work. But an old undershirt is convenient. It's you're recycling, old clothes that you would otherwise throw away. And it works really well. A paper towel is a little bit too rough. You want something softer. And I have a bunch of old undershirts. I have undershirts for my different color shoes. So I have, this has this for my redder shoes, and I have black polish shoes. So this is perfect. Now, when you put conditioner on, you only want to put on a very, very little bit. Just a small, small touch. If you put too much conditioner on, and polish for that matter, you're going to way overdo it. It's not going to have the effect it should have. In fact, it might have a negative effect. So you just want to rub it over nice all over the shoe. Again, don't overdo it. You're not polishing the shoe here. You're just rubbing conditioner on it, taking away the last layer of polish. Doesn't smell that great. I love the smell of shoe polish. It smells very, very nostalgic. I don't know. I like these kinds of smells. But the conditioner smells kind of bad. You don't want to overdo it. Just rub it over with your hand. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to make things pretty simplistic. I'm not going to do things like I would necessarily if I was doing a full 9 yards polish. But just to show you the basics, you polish it over with a layer of conditioner, and that should do it. You should also want to wait a little bit, maybe a minute or two, before you put on the rest of the polish. We're not going to do that for this video, but just for the future. Now, I like to run it over again with a brush a second time after I put the conditioner on. Again, the whole purpose is that the polish penetrates into the shoe better. You're softening the shoe. You're taking any conditioner off the shoe that might be there. Even if you don't see a difference when you take the brush and run it over with a brush, then it makes a very, very big difference. And you can see already a certain sort of luster on the shoe. Now, for the polish, there are a couple options you could use. Allen Edmonds has their own special polish. I use that for my special color, the chili shoes, my walnut shoes, and those polishes are custom made for the Allen Edmonds color. Black is very universal though. And while you could use a special polish made special for the brand that you're buying, I use Kiwi. This has been around for years. This is a classic. This is a standard. This is what your grandfather used when he polished his shoes. When you go into the subway station, the train station, and you got your guy there polishing your shoes, at the airport, they're using Kiwi. This is a standard. It works well. It's black, and it does a trick. Now, when you polish your shoe, the idea is, just like the conditioner, to put a very, very little bit on. If you put too much polish on, you will not only not be polishing your shoe, you will be ruining your shoe. So very important to only put a little bit of polish on. Alright, now when you put the polish on, you only want to take a small little drop. As you can see here, I only put a very, very little bit on. And you want to rub it over slowly with your hand like this. Another thing I want to point out, very practical, is you don't want to wear any clothes that you might get afraid to get ruined when you polish your shoes. You can see I'm wearing a sweatshirt. If you wear a dress shirt or a shirt that you do not want to see to get ruined, it could affect your polishing because you'll be scared, and if it does stain your shirt, again, this stuff does stain, so you have to be very, very careful. And when you put the polish on, you're not painting the shoe. A lot of people have a misconception that they're painting the shoe. You're not painting it, you're polishing it. You're putting on wax. So if you see the coating, if you see a thick coating of polish when you're putting it on, you're putting too much on. You don't want to see the coating of polish. You want to see a nice shine, a nice wax. and that does a trick. You can see already it's getting very, very nice. Now again, these are a very, very nice pair of shoes. You're not going to see this sort of shine with most brands. This is an Allen Edmonds, beautiful leather. But no matter what brand you're polishing, you should notice a very substantial difference. You shouldn't necessarily see a mirror shine, but with a pair like this, if you're using an Allen Edmonds or a really nice pair of shoes, you should be able to get a mirror shine. You just want to go all over with it. You could do this several times. You could take the brush and brush it over. You could do this 3, 4, 5 times. It's up to you. When you go into, again, when you go to the airport and have someone do it for you, they're usually going to be doing it twice. You could do it 3, 4, 5 times. There's no limit. You don't want to overdo it. I take that back. You don't want to overdo it just because it could, be bad for your shoe. But you want to do it at least twice, I would say. Now you could also put water on if you need it. I never use water. Occasionally I'll use saliva, just like the olden times, spit on the shoe. That's very, very helpful. But if you're using if you're using this, I don't keep on mentioning this, but the quality of leather is very important. So if you're using this quality leather, you don't need any saliva at all. You don't need any liquid. If you have a dollar shoe, you will need liquid to rub it in to get the sort of shine that you want. But even for a pair like this, a little bit of liquid could be helpful. The reason I use saliva also as opposed to water is not just because it's a little more convenient, it's also because it's much more, you don't get too much. When you use saliva, you're only using a very, very little bit, which is what you need. If you use too much, it could be, again, detrimental, bad for the shoe. Just another last thing before I end off this video here is that you want to make sure you use good polish. Never ever use the cheap oily stuff that you could see that they sometimes sell in the stores. You could use a little bit of real olive oil to polish your shoes sometimes if you need it. If you don't have polish, you could use a little bit of olive oil, but the artificial, really disgusting oily stuff that if you, after you use it, you take your finger and your hand gets all oily, that stuff is bad, bad, bad for your shoe. You might see some stuff that says quick shine or instant shine. That is never, ever, ever put anything like that on your shoe. It could ruin your shoe and it won't be helpful at all. It won't last and it's not permanent. To properly polish your shoe, you need good polish, you need good leather, you need a good shoe, and it takes work, it takes time, it's a skill, which is why people pay people a lot of money to polish their shoes for them. But if you know how to do it yourself, the entire set costs like $20. Believe me, it's worth it. You could get, I've had these shoes for years and years. They look brand new. It's because I take very good care of them. I put the shoe trees in them. I polish them myself. I rarely get my shoes polished by someone else. Occasionally, but rarely. And if you do this, you're going to see, you're going to have the same pair of shoes for years, and they'll look better over time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe, and leave any comments below. And I'll see you in the next video.